Hold on. Let me pull this up. Where is it? So I in the aftermath of the Biden administration coming out and saying that they are basically fucking drop shipping, thousands and thousands of baby formula into Indiana under Operation Fly Formula. I said, capitalism is so wild that 4 companies control all baby formula and the stuff they make overseas is not allowed to be sold here, even though EU standards are higher. So when one plant is shut down to avoid an FDA investigation, everything collapses and the government has to fly formula in. And people, oh boy, did people get mad at me. Libertarians that were DMing you.
How'd they get mad? That's an objectively correct take.
Well, you're a little biased, so that's probably why. You're not the co-founder of the Institute for Progress, a think tank accelerating scientific, technological, and industrial progress, who interested in progress studies and effective altruism. Just like a Silicon Valley version of like we're libertarians and think that like charity will actually go a long way and solve all our problems. It just hasn't yet. Yeah. You're not one of those big brain guys.
Yeah. No, effective altruism is like I don't completely hate effective altruism, except it's always used by these guys, by the libertarian types. It's like good to figure out, hey, how can you best like give money to poor people? That's a good thing to do. But then these guys are like, well, that's the only way that we should help anybody is by billionaires scraping off 0.5% to like send overseas. What was this guy's beef with you? What did he say?
Well, he was mad because capitalism is when a government regulator bans most competitors from entering the market. Now, what these guys always like play fast and loose with that I personally love is that like they think that it's not like governments doing this at the behest of corporations lobbying the government. Yeah. Like as though the government itself is like, no, I fucking love, I as an individual independent entity I'm not even motivated by the revolving door between the FDA and companies like Abbott. I'm not motivated by that at all. I'm just the government, and I love doing communism. And communism is when you have a duopoly or an oligopoly. Yeah. And that's the only reason that the government is doing this is it's.
No, you know what pisses me off about this is that these guys have identified a problem, but they're blaming the wrong person. Like, so libertarians will complain about regulatory capture, which is a real problem. It's when you have a regulator and then you've got a corporation that like basically takes control of the regulator and dictates what it does and uses it to build a monopoly. And dudes like this will claim that that's a problem with the idea of regulation. Yeah. And it's not. It's a problem with capitalism and like money infecting the political system and the revolving door. If we actually, it is proof that we have ineffective regulation. And if you had no regulation, then that's just by
even
default
worse.
What you would end up with. You'd end up with an even bigger monopoly. So what they should like, it's them blaming the government for what they're fucking doing. That's what capitalism is doing.
Yeah. Which is ironic because the original shortage of baby formula came from Abbott closing down a facility in Michigan, specifically because there may or may not have been some whistleblowers in that facility, in that factory, for saying for years to the FDA that, this baby formula, the conditions of the baby formula is being made is actually horrifying. And there's like a lot of bacteria growing inside of these vats that they're using. And the FDA, of course, surprisingly, in that G word structure that you were mentioning, refused to investigate adequately until it was too late and 2 babies actually died. Then they conducted an investigation that was inconclusive, unfortunately, because there was a lot of hiding information on behalf of Abbott. And then they even quite literally shut the plant down in its entirety instead of allowing the FDA to conduct like a full-blown investigation after 2 babies died. But the investigation that they did do ended up finding that like these were separate diseases that these 2 babies got, and it wasn't from the plant itself. But they scrubbed it, and they hid all the information, and they stopped an investigation from being conducted. Yeah. And the FDA wasn't exactly super willing to conduct one anyway because of what we just mentioned.
Yeah. Well, look, if you are the very few number of companies making baby formula and being regulated by the FDA, and nobody else is paying any attention, then you are going to be the people who have the closest relationship with the FDA. Like there are just executives at these companies who are paid millions of dollars a year just to call the FDA on the phone and be like, hey, Bob, what the fuck's happening? You know? And if nobody else is putting pressure on Bob, if the public doesn't know what's going on, then like there isn't going to be, then that's the relationship that's going to dominate. And so you're going to have them be able to get out of inspections and shit like that, and things are really going to go sideways. But this is exactly the sort of problem that the government should be able to regulate. And like one of the things we talk about on the show, we talk about a lot of things the government does well. We talk about a lot of things that it really fucks up. But like there's a whole lot of things that used to kill Americans all the time, and the government just sent people in to solve those problems, like meat inspection. Meat inspection has a lot of problems, but at the very least, every piece of meat you eat is like touched by a USDA inspector. And like we have drastically lowered the rates of foodborne illnesses. We talk about the FDIC, how the FDIC like is such an effective regulator of banks. They take over banks when they're failing.
You're a bit of a cuck, I think, for the nanny state. If I want to get trichinosis, it's my God-given right, and
look, and both of those regulators are not perfect, right? But like those are problems that through like New Deal style super muscular regulation, like we fucking like put a collar on capitalism, and it like has been working for 100 years, and that is something we can do again should we fucking choose to, should like the electeds actually want to do it.
I just want to point out something in this tweet that so many libertarians conveniently overlooked, which is even though EU standards are higher, and by the way, the companies that are making baby formula in America are also dominating the European market as well. So it's the same exact company making higher standard baby formula in Europe for some reason. Why would that
be?
How did that happen? How I wonder
could it have something to do with them being forced to behave differently by a different government that takes the issue more seriously?
Another question I always ask myself is, of course, the sale of pharmaceuticals, the only country on the planet now the VA can do collective bargaining on pharmaceutical purchases, but the only country where it was literally illegal until like 6 years ago to do any kind of like mass purchases and bargain to lower the prices of pharmaceuticals is the United States of America. Why, oh why, I wonder, Big Pharma has no problem selling the same medicine in Australia for like 1/10 the price.
Yeah. Look, once you start looking at regulation, you will see everywhere that in the U.S. they kick and scream and, protest when you try to put the smallest regulation on them. When they do it in other countries, they just fucking work it out and figure out how to make money anyway. Like here in the U.S., we have cable monopolies, right? You only have one choice for your internet service provider via cable, which is like they say they compete with DSL. They don't DSL. Like you're not fucking streaming off of DSL, right? Who do you pay for cable here?
I pay Spectrum, and it's dog shit.
Yeah, it's dog shit.
It's the only provider in this neighborhood.
Yeah, it's the only provider in my neighborhood too. There's no fiber. There's no anything else. In other countries, they make the cable providers share the lines, and so they make them compete. And guess what? They fucking make money anyway because capitalism is good at making money no matter what regulations you put on. You put regulations that safeguard people, competition and people's safety, and they are smart enough to make a profit anyway. They make less, but who gives a shit?
It's crazy. Who gives a shit? The shareholders, the real jobs providers, and the real productive members of society. Adam, you are such. Oh my God, I didn't realize you were a fucking commie. When you said the G word, I thought you were coming in here to speak the truth about the nanny state, and you're over here talking about the government enforcing competition. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Chattanooga has the highest speeds in the entire country.
Oh, I've heard of this, but tell me why.
And of course, the reason is because the government was like, "Yeah, we're gonna fuck it. Like, we're gonna use this. We're gonna offer this public utility."
Right, because it's a public.
And of course,
utility.
they were like, "No, you can't do that,"
Yeah.
and they were like super against it. But then the people of Chattanooga did it anyway, and then of course, every ISP was like, "Just kidding, we have fiber." We have money to spend on
Once
fiber.
they have a hint of competition, they all start putting fiber in. And by the way, the other thing those companies did was they put in fiber around Chattanooga. Then they tried to get, and I believe they've done it successfully in a lot of states, they got states to pass a law against cities putting in their own fiber. So like any other city that wants to do what Chattanooga does, there's like the lawyers for the ISPs
So awesome.
will try to stop you from doing it.
And then we have people who get banned for 2 weeks because they said they want to plant a bomb in an ISP. I mean, obviously, I abhor that. That's terrible, violent behavior. But like, in some respects, it's even wilder to ban anchovies for that long. I'm just saying. Anyway. Free Sanchovies. More like 3 months. Yeah, he was gone for a long time.
Damn.
Okay. So anyway, how exactly does capitalism mean that there are 5 companies which make baby formula in the United States? The reason why there's only 4 or 5 companies is because all industries naturally want to monopolize. All industries naturally would like to, under capitalism, whether there's regulation or not, try to become an oligopoly. Okay, that's why you have larger companies that engage in like predatory pricing, like Amazon does when it comes to e-commerce, or the airliner industry. This is what they do. They suck up all the smaller companies until they are the dominant force. The government is supposed to do what is known as antitrust, but in America, our attitude around antitrust laws is a little bit silly, where we believe that as long as, legally speaking, the consumer is not hurt by an oligopoly's existence, as long as the price point is low for the consumer, you legally will not engage in antitrust lawsuits against a monopoly.
Yeah, that was put in place by, I believe, under Robert Bork. That was his theory, and it's been used by like every judge. And one of the reasons is it's easy for a judge to figure out, because the government used to try to say, yo, this is going to reduce competition. It's going to hurt labor. It's going to hurt all these other people. It's going to have less choice in the marketplace. And the judges were like, I'm too stupid to understand that. And then the right-wing lawyers were like, oh, all you should worry about is our price is going to go up. And it's very easy for the corporate lawyers to say, no, prices are going to go down. And so the judges are like, okay, great. I can wrap my head around that. That's what we've been living under for 30 years. That's starting to change, though. Like the FTC and the DOJ, for the first time, like ever, at least since the 70s, have started. They're now trying to change what's called the Consumer Welfare Standard and like actually regulate monopolies more. I just spoke in front of the FTC, in front of Lena Khan. You know Lena Khan? No. Lena Khan is Biden's appointee to the FTC. She's the chair of the FTC. She's like fucking 33. She's incredible. She like
so finally someone who knows what the internet is like.
Yeah, I mean she's a 33-year-old. She's younger than I am, and she wrote a viral article in law school called "Amazon's Antitrust Paradox" that like completely reevaluated the last 50 years of antitrust law. It went viral in legal circles. She's now running the FTC and is like specifically going after like large monopolies, trying to lay the legal groundwork to eventually be able to stop mergers and break them up. And I spoke in front of her about media mergers, which like, Adam Ruins Everything was killed by a media merger. By AT&T buying Time Warner is why the show was canceled. And now all these companies are still merging with each other more and more. There's like 4 fucking media companies left that make any TV or movies. It's terrible.
But how else could you get this brilliant moment from, wait, hold on. What was it? Free Guy? Hold on, I got to play this. I just watched it on the plane last night, and I wanted to video game myself. Hold on. Does anyone have the clip readily available, the Free Guy one?
Oh my God.
The Twitter clip? Without mergers, how could you get, the greatest movie clip of all time? Yeah, the lightsaber. And then it's a lightsaber, dude. Does anyone have it? Come on, dude. One of you guys had to have it.
I'm trying to struggle.
This guy was the roommate of the creator of BoJack Horseman in college. Is that true?
That's true. Yeah, one of my best friends created BoJack Horseman. We were in a comedy group called Old English, and we were roommates together for 3 years. And then he moved to LA to make BoJack Horseman. Raphael Bob Waxberg is his name.
Okay, are you ready for this though? This is the absolute greatest. This is the absolute greatest movie masterpiece movie. This is movie magic. Okay, there's nothing greater than this sequence of events.
All of it, life, kicking ass, TBD, third thing here.
Oh shit! Activate death blow. Bye, guy.
Oh, Taika Waititi's there.
Yeah, it was so cringe. I mean, disappointing.
Shit, that's a death blow.
Get up!
Mom, he's coming in with a death blow.
Look at that Rick and Morty poster in the
Oh my
background. A
God.
Deadpool poster in the background. It's perfect. It's just so.
They're all doing this now.
Get him, guy.
Shouts out to Jack Clip the guy for the show.
I mean, good for Jack.
Pog!
Oh, wow.
Captain America shield Pog!
Wow. I didn't realize this movie was a Ready Player One. Shit.
Oh, that's a Hulk. Oh, Pog! I'm pogging. It's a Hulk gauntlet.
This is what this movie is? I didn't realize.
Hold on. Is that a Peterson?
Yes! That's a lightsaber, dude.
Hell yeah! That's the greatest line. This is actually the greatest sequence of events that have ever taken place in a movie. You can't have this kind of fucking IP merger without these mega corporations getting together and buying each other.
I mean,
until
first
they're
of all, yes, you can. They just pay each other a license fee. Like, they all love doing
Not
this.
the same. Not
it's
the
not
same.
hard to do it. Also, this movie, it bothers me so much that just the name Free Guy is such, like, elder Gen Xer shit.
Oh,
because, like,
no, it's written by a dude who's never been on the internet.
like Ryan Reynolds literally thinks, yeah, we all call a one-up a free guy, right? Doesn't everyone call it a free guy?
I have no.
That's
I don't
people
even know
called
what
it in
that is.
1981.
I don't even know what that is.
It was like, that's something that like your older brother's older friend would say upon getting a one-up in like Mario Brothers 1 would be, I got a free guy. But it was not. It never became part of gamer lingo. It's just like a very old-fashioned. But like he thinks that it is.
I
Ryan
literally
Reynolds
did
thinks
not
that
even know that.
it's part of. It's like makes sense to be a movie title.
I did not know that at all. Okay, that's awesome. But can we just run this back really quick?
Is that a Peterson?
Yes! That's a lightsaber, dude.
That's my favorite. That's like my favorite fucking moment out of any movie of all time. This is written by like an elder millennial. This entire movie is written by an elder millennial who like has not understood like anything about the internet, video games at all. There's a moment in the movie where towards the end they're like, yeah, who would have thought that people would like to watch video game characters live their life instead of shooting them? Like, no, dude, I love shooting video game characters. The fuck are you talking about? No one wants to watch video game characters live their... Anyway.
Who needs to say this is a lightsaber? Like, is that for who is that for? That line? Yeah, that's a lightsaber.
It's a movie written by it's a movie written by like a 42-year-old that is exclusively for like 50-year-olds to understand as well. It's fun for the whole family.
My God.
Is that a lightsaber? It is.
Yeah, wow. Is that a lightsaber? That's crazy.
The question for me is, what are they going to do?
Oh my God, one of the writers is literally 54 years old. That's awesome. There you go. There you go.
Oh wow, he wrote the original X-Men movies, like the ones that invented the whole fucking superhero thing.
Yeah, there
X2.
And also the co-creator of Alpha's on the Sci-Fi Network. Great.
Oh, yeah,
He's got
terrific.
credentials.
Yeah.
Zach Penn is 55 years old. Holy shit.
Well, that's who I want to be doing my video game content, is a 55-year-old. I mean, he probably remembers Pong, you know? Like, also there's that Adam Sandler movie that's like the Pixels movie where video games are all Pac-Man, Space Invaders, stuff like that. That's fine. That's fine. I don't mind the old shit. But like, what are they going to do in movies after they're done with this multiverse trend? Like, I could not believe when I saw the new Spider-Man that everyone was raving about. I finally saw it, and I was like,
I did not like it.
It's just another fucking multiverse movie. It's just here are the characters from the other movie, and here they are, and they're going to do fucking shtick.
Adam ruins his life by getting death threats and doxxed on the internet because he had a take on the Spider-Man movie. Are you ready for what's about to happen to you? I disavow what he said. Like,
I mean, what's his name? Who's the Spider-Man who nobody liked who's in the movie? The second Spider-Man?
the fucking British, or no, they're all British.
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
He's doing
not
like
even British.
he's doing like a Ben Schwartz impression, doing shtick about like just
Oh my God.
ridiculous. Like, and what and they that was what the previous Spider-Man movie was as well, and that's also what the fucking Doctor Strange movie is. That's what this movie is. That's what Ready Player One is. They've been doing it's the same movie over and over again. What are they going to do when people finally get bored of these in 2 years? I have no idea.
Yeah, they're not. They're not gonna get bored of this. This is like it just keeps making billions and billions of dollars.
You're right that it comes from. So what's been happening is that these companies have basically realized that they own vast oil fields, which are the inside of our brains, that we are psychically connected to these characters, and that is a resource that they can purchase and own. And so what's happened is executives no longer want to go to screenwriters, TV writers, actors, and, you know, like get content from them. They want something that they can fucking own, like real estate.
But there's
so they're
also-
just buying the characters from each other. Now that they have them all in one place, they're like, now I own this shit. I'm going to put it all in the same movie. It's like fucking
It's also
landlord
proven.
logic.
It's also 100%. You're right, and it's also proven to be like successful. So it's like less risk in their minds is like taking well-established IP and then like reformatting it, repackaging it, and then throwing it back at you in the form of slop is
one of the
proven.
craziest things that's happening in media right now in television is that like the most valuable shows in streaming are the ones that have like 200 episodes, like The Office, Friends, Seinfeld, shows like that. But yet not a single one of the streamers wants to invest to make a new one of those shows. Rick and Morty is like one of the very few examples. And that's
but that's also because like it's a risk, right? They do try it. Like they tried it with like Space Force, for example. And
I mean,
no disrespect to Netflix. I know I know they cut your last paycheck, but like
I'll talk shit about Netflix all day.
That was kind of dog water.
Their whole strategy is to create, like, literally the way their algorithm is optimized. They don't want a lot of episodes of one thing. They want a lot of different tiles on the interface, and they don't want, so they cancel everything after 2 seasons. Doesn't matter how many hits it gets, unless the very cheap reality shows. Those are the only ones that they keep doing. They cancel everything after 2 seasons. And I think it's just bad business strategy because nothing ever grows. Nothing ever sticks in people's minds. They have to re-educate people about all these new shows over and over again. And they never end up creating the new, like, Friends, the new Office, whatever it is, because they'd much rather, license something and make a couple episodes of it and then throw it in the trash. It's like bad capitalism. They are bad at doing capitalism is the problem. In addition to capitalism being a problem.
I agree. Patriot Act with a better Hasan. Yeah, that was a good show, but there were some issues with it apparently. But we don't know. We don't know what their numbers look like. So I guess they're making those decisions internally. And
yeah.
But to be fair, demonstrably, Netflix is not doing well because we've seen their subscription numbers and their revenue.
They have when like a month ago they announced they lost subscribers for the first time ever. It was like a fucking earthquake in the industry, and it's going to change everything for the next 3 years.
I know, but like that's also because of COVID. I feel like that was like a big boost that they saw that was never going to be permanent as a consequence of COVID. And there's also more competitors in the space.
Yeah.
Like Disney Plus is probably a huge reason for it too, because like they do have pretty strong IP.
Yeah.
Like,
Disney Plus, and I think HBO Max
and HBO,
running circles around Netflix. But Netflix's strategy was always to create a monopoly.
Adam ruins his shot at getting a second season on Netflix.
If I'm gonna get hired for another series of anything, it's because people know me for doing this shit. So I've made my bed. This is what I do. But yeah, no, Netflix, like their whole strategy was to be a monopoly. Their share price and everything else was based on one day they'll be the only TV network, and now they have a little bit of competition, and the market has realized they're not gonna like dominate the universe, and so now their share price is it's just like Uber. It's undercutting the competition in the hopes of one day like eliminating all of it.
Or Amazon,
Or Amazon, yep. Amazon's the only one that's had any success at it, but it's an incredibly damaging business model either way, because now what's going to happen is Netflix is going to cut back on how many new shows that they make. It's going to be terrible for all of us in the industry. All the other networks are going to cut back as well. So 10 years ago, we had all these cable channels and we had streamers, and people could get work on all different types of places. Now we're going to be stuck with 4, 5, HBO, Apple, Disney. Disney's also owns Hulu, so Hulu's the same thing. Netflix, and that's it. And they're going to be making less shit, paying everybody way less. Their union contracts are dog shit. So they've successfully created a worse world for everybody where they make less money. It's like the monopolistic urge is constant, but it doesn't benefit anyone.
Yeah. I guess like short-term benefits for shareholders, but that's pretty much it. And then they get cucked in the end regardless.
Yeah,
okay, but what do you have to say to this though?
Okay, to what?
I went to a movie tonight at a theater. What a miracle. It's been maybe 2 years. Free guy, fun, smart, creative, and a perfect archetypical structure. Persona, shadow, anima, self, in that order. Perfect.
I didn't realize who this was tweeting until halfway through. You could see the moment I realized.
Yeah.
Incredible. This guy is the craziest motherfucker I have ever seen. And it's incredible to me that he was like posing himself as like this ultra rational like man of science when
And it's super masculine too.
yeah, when the form of psychology he does is basically fucking astrology. Like and astrology is fine. I got no problem with astrology, but just like all of his shadow self bullshit is the least. It's literary analysis. He might as well be like a poet. And he's acting like
You're saying
anything
he's
that he
sus.
says means it.
Fellas, ladies love astrology. Jordan Peterson's doing the astrology of psychology. I don't know. Pretty feminine to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got him. Freaking got him. Have you ever...
Incredible.
Wait, okay. What do you have to say? If we're going to talk about Jordan Peterson for a second, hold on.